Hello friends, welcome back. In this video, I'm going to share how I manage my sugars during a massive holiday feast. I'll share what strategies I used, what foods I ate, and which ones I avoided, and what the feast did to my blood sugar. For those who are new to my channel, my name's Trevor from Home on the Range, where I share easy to use tips to help you navigate your diabetes journey more successfully. I've been living with type 1 diabetes for 42 years, worked as a diabetes educator and raised 2 type 1 kids, and have a mission to simply share everything that has helped me along my diabetes path. Please remember this is my journey and not medical advice. So if you've been searching for tips and hacks on how to manage massive meals like holiday feasts, then you've come to the right place. So let's get to it. The holidays are a time to spend with family and loved ones, but for us with diabetes, it can be very challenging to keep those blood sugars in range. As you can see when you clicked on my video, we are tempted with treats and huge plates of foods, which are double or triple the serving size we might normally eat. So this holiday feast had all the classic foods: turkey, ham, vegetables, stuffing, mashed potatoes, gravy, and a wide selection of drinks and treats for dessert. So let's get to my strategies. Strategy number 1, start out in good range. And if you've watched my previous videos here, you'll see this is a strategy I use all the time. So starting out in higher range just makes it harder to manage those blood sugar levels when eating a huge meal. So start out in a good range. As you can see by my CGM here, I start in a fairly decent range. But if you keep watching, this doesn't last. So the next strategy I use, strategy number 2, is have a food budget plan. So what do I mean by that? Basically have a plan, or at least a bit of a food budget. I wasn't the host at this feast, so when I arrived, I asked when the main meal was going to be served. Basically, when was the turkey going to be ready? In order to decide in advance the approximate carb and protein I plan to eat. This is a complete estimate, by the way, due to the fact that a typical holiday feast mashes most of the stuff, making it impossible, well, almost impossible, to accurately count carbs. By taking a pre-bolus, it sort of sets my carb budget for the amount I plan to eat and prevents me from overdoing it. At least that was my plan anyways. As you can see here, I filled up my plate and based on the amount of insulin I took. I should mention another strategy. If possible, try to prepare lower carb food substitutes to bring to the meal if you're attending a feast or if you're having your own feast. For a feast like this, I prepared a cauliflower mash to eat it as alternative to the mashed potatoes. I have an amazing method to make these, and honestly, don't miss the real thing. This substitute saves me from consuming one of the most carb-dense foods on that holiday plate, which is the mashed potatoes. Mashed potatoes typically have about 35 grams per cup, which we never just eat 1 cup, while cauliflower mash has approximately 4 to 5 grams per cup. As you can see, that's a significant difference in carb, but you still get that mashed potato kind of feel. As you can see by my CGM trend, I could not resist some of the pre-meal snacks, chips, candies, etc. Oh well, remember the 80-20 rule. You have to live life and enjoy, at least 20% of the time. With most holiday gatherings and festivities, alcohol is offered, and as a type 1 diabetic, there are a few considerations. I plan to do a future video to go into more depth on alcohol and diabetes, but for now my strategies were this. I tend to choose lower sugar options like dry wine or spirits mixed with diet drinks. The liqueurs and sweeter options tend to spike my blood sugars. I also snack when drinking, which prevents me from having low sugars that can sometimes happen when drinking alcohol. So to be honest, alcohol is just that one more thing that can make sugar control a little bit more challenging. So test, and test to figure out how it affects you. And the drink choices I listed are what works for me. So now that I've had some pre-meal snacks, a couple of drinks, and a huge plate of food, I look in on my blood sugar. It spiked a little pre-meal due to the snacking, but I waited for the CGM trend to trend down before taking that first bite of food. If you are enjoying this video, please hit the like button and leave a comment about how you manage large meals, and I will reply to your comments. Now for the post-meal desserts, drinks, and aperitifs. One more glance at the CGM. Not too bad. If anything, I overshot the amount of insulin needed for the meal, but my type 1 brain knows that the amount of protein and fat will eventually lead to a delayed spike in blood sugar later on. Make sure you watch till the end, because even I was surprised at what happened to my blood sugar this time. So my next strategy, balance your plate to slow down spikes. This is pretty easy to do during this type of meal. I try to have a decent amount of protein with most of my meal, which usually means a decent amount of fat too. Both protein and fat, when mixed with higher glycemic index foods like potatoes, breads, fruits, it helps to slow down how quickly the overall meal turns into sugar, and is a strategy I use to keep sugars in range. The issue with this type of meal is the amount of food consumed in one go and the delay in sugar rise that will happen. Like I said, you'll be shocked at what happens to my sugar. So the next strategy, move around after eating. I don't have the chance to move around after this meal. It's too busy playing charades and visiting. But if possible, try to move around after meals. Even a brief walk around the block will reduce insulin resistance and prevent post-meal spikes, especially when eating a larger meal. As most of us living with diabetes will tell you, it doesn't end after the meal and visit. In my case, my sugars eventually climbed above normal range, requiring a few corrections, and by morning eventually leveled out. Once again, I remember the 80-20 rule. Overall, the time out of range will have no overall impact on my health, but the amazing meal, fun, and time spent with family and those I love, that memory will last forever. Diabetes is challenging, and sometimes no matter what we do, we end up with poor blood sugar. And as I mentioned in other videos, shoot for good control 80% of the time and let go a little 20% of the time for mental health. Please check out my latest videos here. If you don't want to miss the next video, please like the channel, hit the subscribe button and notification button so you don't miss the next one. Thanks for watching, and wishing you all happiness, happy holidays wherever you are in the world, and home in the range blood sugar. See you next time.